When I was looking at the Western Conference landscape going to the regular season, one of my 4 contenders was the Minnesota Timberwolves. I had OKC, I had Minnesota, Denver, and Houston. And it seems like San Antonio has entered that conversation as well. Now, I do believe they're a year away because when I saw them against Boston, they are struggling shooting from 3. They were leaving Stephon Castle open, other guys open from 3. And I think that will be one of their downfalls in the playoffs because if you can't knock down open shots, then it's going to be tougher to win basketball games. Will San Antonio be really good in the playoffs? Yes, but I think those 4 teams are above them at this moment. Now, looking at the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards has taken a leap this year in his shooting ability in the clutch. Going back to last year, Anthony Edwards' numbers in the clutch 43% from the field, 32% from 3, and he had more turnovers and assists. You fast forward to this year, he is 29 of 41 from the field. That's 71%. He's 8 of 14 from 3, and that's 57%. So in clutch situations, Anthony Edwards has taken that step. You look at the Minnesota Timberwolves, they are 11-7 in clutch games so far. Last year, they were 20-26 in those same games. So you could say, well, it's still early. Understandable. But there's growth. And anytime you're in these situations where you're losing close games and you are just frustrated, it builds experience for the team going forward. And you look at the continuity of the Minnesota Timberwolves, they've got great versatility up and down this roster. Mike Conley, Dante DiVincenzo, Rudy Gobert is a solid rebounder. He's been really good this year from them, just shooting from the field. And then you still got Jaden McDaniels, who's been phenomenal for the Timberwolves, Naz Reid, Julius Randle, and the list goes on. And you look at the growth of Anthony Edwards, he's shooting 50% from the field, 41% from 3. The Minnesota Timberwolves have the best record in the NBA since November 29th. So for me, I'm not surprised by this. I am not shocked. And I think Minnesota will just get better as the season progresses. Last year, they had some growing pains when they brought in Julius Randle. They tried to figure things out. And as we got towards the end of the season, that's when they started picking things up. This time around, with more continuity, more playing time, they have been really just getting better earlier in the season. And that just comes with playing time and getting used to each other and building that chemistry. Also, when they're playing teams over 500 above, they started pretty slow in that department. But over the last 9 games, they are 7-2 in that department. That is big for Minnesota. So when you look at Anthony Edwards, I noticed there's been growth in his mid-range game. He's picking his spots on when to attack. He looks more patient out there, and the game is slower. And that's expected as you mature in the NBA. This is his 6th season in basketball. And we haven't even seen Anthony Edwards in his prime yet. And that's what's scary about his development. He's only going to get better. And for the Wolves, man, they have a great shot at making the NBA Finals. You could say, oh, I don't know about that. They've been in the Western Conference Finals 2 years in a row. They beat Denver, and they had a surprise. You could say a surprise run last year, but it just shows the growth of this basketball team. And I expect things to just get better. And you look at Jaden McDaniels, I want to go back to him. He's a 50, 40, 80 guy this year. So these guys are growing. They're getting better. And as long as they continue to beat the good basketball teams and Anthony Edwards is doing his thing in the clutch, they're going to be very scary. Rudy Gobert is shooting 71% from the field. Now, I understand a lot of those shots are in the painted area, but he's doing better out there. And of course, Naz Reid is going to do his thing off the bench. And you got other guys like Terrence Shannon Jr., 40% from 3. I know it's on 2 attempts, but as long as these guys can keep showing up, Bones Highland has given them really good energy. I know he's their backup point guard. I wish, Dillingham got more playing time, but it looks like it's, not working out, but he's still young. So we have to see how he develops in Minnesota, if he can learn behind Bones Highland and then get a bigger role in the future. We shall see. But overall, Minnesota is a fantastic basketball team. There is no doubt about it. They are heading in the right direction. And would I be surprised if they end up making the NBA Finals? No, I'm not going to be surprised because you look at the experience factor, Anthony Edwards playing really well in the clutch and being patient and not just forcing the issue. They're going to be tough to beat. And it's really all about matchups. I think they will do better against OKC this year. We have seen their problems so far this season, and they're realizing how hard it's going to be to repeat because everybody is giving their best effort against OKC. And they beat OKC in the recent game against them. And then you look at Denver, they match up really well with the Nuggets. because of Rudy Gobert's size, and they have caused Denver a lot of problems. And then they go out and beat San Antonio recently, and I think they would beat them in a playoff series because of the experience factor. San Antonio is just a year away. You have to go through the process. We saw OKC. They were looking like a juggernaut, and they lose to Dallas in 6, and then they win the NBA Finals, but it was not easy to get there. They had that tough 7-game series against Denver, went to 7 games against the Pacers. So everybody has a process to go through. That's why I think Minnesota has the edge over the Spurs at this moment. And I look at the roster, keep building, keep getting the experience. If you want to improve around the edges, maybe get another point guard. That's been one of my things I would like to see from Minnesota is maybe add another playmaker. But outside of that, they are really solid as a basketball team. They shoot 37% from 3, which is really solid as a team. If Anthony Edwards keeps doing his thing like this in the clutch, they are going to be scary. And the positive thing is they're beating teams over 500. They're also winning these close games. It's only going to bode well for them in the playoffs. So if they finish, let's just say 26-20 in clutch games this year, that is going to help them immensely when we get to the playoffs. So you can see the growth. You can see them improving. And I'm just excited for this team because I have loved to see Anthony Edwards get better year in and year out. The maturity is there. As you said, I don't care what happens in the first 3 quarters, fourth quarter, 3 minutes, 4 minutes left. Let me see it. And he has proven it time and time again. So we'll see how this all plays out. Love to hear your thoughts about the Minnesota Timberwolves. What do you think they need to improve upon, if anything, for the roster? Maybe they need to make a trade at the trade deadline. If you think they're fine, let me know. And what do you expect from them in the playoffs? Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. And I'll catch you on the next one.